everybody. Welcome to Tour Talk. Tactacam fisheye cameras make this podcast possible. Tactacam. This is the company that offers high-resolution action cameras for about half of what the other guys charge. Tactacam also has a full lineup of accessories, including a replaceable lens system that allows you to go from a standard lens to a wide-angle 180-degree view or to a mini zoom. We are incorporating a couple of fisheye cameras with the screw-on interchangeable lenses that allow you to modify the viewing angle of your fisheye into this podcast. The fisheye combo lens pack is a set of two lenses, an ultra-wide lens and a mini zoom lens to get all the right angles. Camera 1 features a mini zoom that allows you to capture high quality from distance. Camera 2 features the ultra-wide lens that allows you to see almost 180 degrees. The week of June 28th has us right smack dab in the middle of Major League Bass Fishing's Bass Pro Tour Stage 5 event on the St. Lawrence River. And it has been a smallmouth smashdown, as the tour apparently has landed there at the exact perfect moment. Weights are through the roof. This is one you don't dare blink because everything could change that quickly. Last week I spoke out about those who are critical of the decisions that professional anglers make, and I enjoyed hearing from those of you who cared to comment. We are living in the greatest moment that professional tournament fishing has ever known. There is no shortage of tours to follow, live broadcasts to watch, tournament vlogs that give us a unique perspective to the life that most of us can only dream of. Oh yeah, and then there's those of us that do podcasts. It's all part of the beautiful world of professional bass fishing, and I believe there's room for everyone. Have you watched a Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour broadcast? This is the tour with the every fish counts format. This is the tour that penalizes anglers if a bass touches the carpet, the boat gunnel, or if a bass travels through the air when being released. This is the tour that uses score tracker updates to make sure that every pro knows where they stand during a day's competition. And this is the tour that doesn't have live weigh-ins. Major League Fishing is the tour designed to bring angler versus angler matchups to the forefront of the viewing audience's attention. Through the use of score tracker, anglers as well as fans know how the entire field is doing the entire day. And believe me, it alters the decisions made by the pros.
So that's all part of trying to find a way to elevate the excitement of the sport, both for the players. You know, one of the things that was always crazy about our sport, and it's very competitive. Of the sports I played growing up and the other things, you and I and probably most of the fans of this show, you know, we know what it's like to compete, but the average viewer can't feel that. You know, they can't feel what we feel inside, you know, when you've got four in the well and you just need one good one and you're going to have a great event. I come from that world as well. The problem is it doesn't show as well to a television audience. It's not as exciting because basically the competitors are not competing with each other. They're just competing with the fish. So we just sort of made it more sports-like in the sense that all of us all the time know where we are, so we compete against each other. I mean, our decisions are based on, what Jacob Wheeler's done and what Gary Klein's done and the adjustments that they make and how we have to respond to that. It's not us against the fish like the old days. It's competitor against competitor, and I think that's what's let us achieve these unprecedented, fan bases on networks where traditionally people don't fish. So it's all by intent to do that.
Take this format, add a prolific fishery like the St. Lawrence River, and land on it at that perfect moment, and you've got a white knuckle ride that won't soon be forgotten. Today, I watched Group A set off to fish 3 2.5-hour periods, and the action never stopped. At the end of the day, 9 pros topped the 115-pound mark, and all caught between 40 and 50 fish. Jesse Wiggins is one spot below the cut line. He caught 19 fish that weighed almost 64 pounds. If you were going to remodel a sport of competitive bass fishing, how would you set out to do it? First, would you dare tamper with our beloved 5-fish limit that we've all grown up with? Would you dare remove the intrigue of the public weigh-in? Would you dare risk alienating those voices that are resistant to change in the sport? Well, if you invent the same old thing, you really haven't invented anything. Gary Klein is a big part of the design of Major League Fishing's Bass Pro Tour. Listen to what Gary has to say about how this format came together.
What our format does that a conventional format does not do is, in our format, you cannot get complacent.
Right.
Where if you go out and fish for 8 hours or 9 hours for 5 bites, you can get real complacent and you can go fish for 5 bites. But in our competitions, you have to catch them. Now, we're still fishing for the same size fish, but you just can't roll in on a spot and catch 25 pounds and coast the rest of the day, because these guys are good and they're going to catch you. So what it does, and our format is not for all anglers, because what it does is it pushes the anglers to limits that they've never experienced before. There's a lot of pressure involved in our competitions, and you see that with anglers that are competing. Some love the format. Some have a real hard time with it because, my God, I just caught one. You mean I got to catch another one?
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing. You watch a guy, you know, for example, I think it was Michael Neal caught like a 4.2, waded in, got back up, and, you know, this was just last week at Chick, stood back up, and he dropped 2 places. I mean, it was like, wow. That's that leaderboard update for you.
Now, the big question is, do the pros like this format? I talked to Matt Becker. He's a Major League Fishing Big 5 Pro Circuit angler that qualified to fish a Bass Pro Tour event recently. Here's what he had to say about the Every Fish Counts format and its electronic messenger score tracker.
It's both, depending on what end you're on it. You know, when you're having a bad day and everyone else is catching them, it's a horrible thing because it gets in your head and, you know, you start spinning out a little bit. But whenever you're doing well, it's a great thing because it's a big confidence boost, and, you know, it's a sign that you're doing the right thing. You're like, yeah, I know I'm doing well. You know, no one else is doing better than me, so I'm doing the right thing, and I'm going to keep doing it. You know, I experienced both sides of it at Sam Rayburn, especially the first day. You know, I had started on a spot where I thought I could catch a couple scorables really quick, and it turned out all I caught was non-scorables. So I think, you know, a half hour or 45 minutes gone by, and my official hit me with a score tracker update, and there was like 15 people who had already caught a bass, and I was like, uh-oh, I got to do something here before I fall too far behind. So I made a little adjustment because I knew what was going on with the score tracker, and I caught 2 or 3 fish real quick, and it bumped me all the way up to 3rd place. And then I was like, well, now I know I'm doing the right thing, so I can stick with that for the rest of the day. So yeah, it was really cool, and I like it. I love the score tracker. I love knowing what's going on. It's way more exciting for the fans. I would say it's definitely the future. You know, looking back in, maybe 10, 15 years ago, whenever you would have a weigh-in, before all this live coverage, there was kind of a mystery. So you didn't really know what people had or who was going to win. But nowadays, if you go to a 5-fish tournament and watch the weigh-in, there's been live coverage all day, and you pretty much know who's going to win already. But with that score tracker, it goes down to the last minute. So it's very exciting, and, you know, keeps the fans engaged because you have to watch it. And, you know, someone could catch a big fish in the last 2 minutes and jump them up and win the tournament.
And how does the Major League Fishing format affect the way pros fish their day on the water? Critics say this format incentivizes anglers to fish for smaller fish. They say the Major League Fishing format, which zeroes the weight at the end of each round, changes the strategy, and the pro who catches the most weight in an event doesn't necessarily always win. Listen to what Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour Luke Clausen has to say about fishing strategy.
And I came into Major League Fishing thinking, I'm going to be fishing. The first year we fished it was a 1 pound minimum. And I'm thinking, I'm going to fish for smaller fish. It's really hard to target little fish, I realized. And guys that are successful still catch them on the same techniques, same baits. We've seen some exclusions from that we don't see as many full-size black and blue jigs. But there is still the majority of the fish are caught on chatterbaits, crankbaits. Then now they may be flipping a creature bait instead of a big jig because it does inherently get more bites. But, like the Ned rig, I was really excited because I thought that was going to be a big player. We were at a 1 pound minimum, and it really was almost a non-factor. And then we go to 2 pounds the next year, and that really wiped the slate clean. Once you start fishing for 2 pound fish, your likelihood of catching 6 pound fish grows tremendously. And 2 pound fish eat the same baits, the same size baits as those. And, the history really proves it. There have been a lot of people that have looked through our results, and there's a lot of times the guy that would have won the overall number of fish would have won the top, 5 biggest bass tournament also. There's definitely the exception to that, no question. But most of the time, I can't remember the exact number, but the vast majority of the time, the guy that would have won the overall still would have won a 5-fish tournament. So really changing the way you fish for our format, probably a pretty bad idea.
Some of you are probably going to say that I'm bashing the tours that put 5 fish in live wells and transport them dozens of miles from the point of catch to the weigh-in site. But that's not what I'm about. When our sport first started, fish were weighed on stringers and the mortality rate was 100%. BASS, behind Ray Scott's vision and Forrest Wood's execution, added tremendous conservation to our sport, and the concept of catch and release became synonymous with bass fishing. But bass fishing is a sport that tends to copy itself. Someone finds something that makes it better, and all the others jump in and follow the leader. The inline spinner was once a staple for bass fishing. Everybody copied it. The spinnerbait was a welcomed innovation that was something new and exciting. Everybody copied it. The vibrating jig, another invention that increased the places a moving vibrating lure could be fished. You guessed it, everybody copied it. Change is inevitable in all aspects of society. And let's just say you were trying to improve the sport of bass fishing. Would you go out and invent something old? So is Major League Fishing's Bass Pro Tour every fish count format the future of our sport? I don't know. But let me ask you this. Are you still using rods with pistol grip handles? Are you still using a paper graph on your boat? Are you still using monofilament line? I would like to hear from you about how you would make professional bass fishing better. What would you do to improve the sport? What would you do to make it more fan-friendly? What would you do to grow the audience? Share your good ideas with me, and I will shout them from the top of a mountain. Are you wanting to get into the action camera, point of view, cast-to-catch craze? Check out the Tactacam Fisheye. Watch this.
Stay on, baby. We need you. Please, Lord. Don't do it. Come on. Down.
Mind if I get a picture of this?
Stay. Come on. Come on. Please, Lord.
Oh, yeah! Come on! Oh, yeah!
Got her! Thank you, Lord! Choked! Come on!
Yeah! Let's weigh that.
Gosh dang. I gotta get back out there, bite. Quick. Get your board ready, get your scale ready. I gotta make another cast. What's their support? I need the other thing too. Yeah, Tony. He's too fat to be. He's not even doing. Ready?
I'm not zero.
Yeah.
How big is it?
That's by 7.
How long is it?
22. Lift them up, your tail. Lift them up.
6'8".
6'8". Thank you, Mr. Fish. Sign it. I need to sign it real quick.
170-degree standard wide-angle lens, plug-in option for all-day power, remote sync with your smartphone, waterproof to 30 feet, patented interchangeable lens system, all at about half the cost of all of the other action cameras on the market. Tactacam Fisheye, because that fish of a lifetime happens once in a lifetime. Folks, if you haven't been to our website, please visit BassTourAnglers.com. Here you can check out all of our YouTube content. You can contact us directly, and you can see our updated Bass Tour Anglers Podcast Angler of the Year standings. What are the Bass Tour Anglers Podcast Angler of the Year standings, you might ask? We follow all the top pro tours, and we track where all the top pro anglers fish. Obviously, the Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour. Obviously, the BASS Elite Series. We follow the National Professional Fishing League. We follow all the Toyota Series events. We follow the BASS Open events. We follow some tours on the West Coast. 63 events total this year, and we are assembling points, and we are going to determine the definitive Angler of the Year. Check out the website again, BassTourAnglers.com, and you can find out our criteria for scoring. You can find out how every tournament has turned out so far, and you can see the standings of where these guys rank. Well, thanks for being with us this week, folks. I appreciate everybody for coming in and checking us out. As always, we appreciate your comments. If you got something to say it. Until then, keep those life vests dipped and clipped, keep those rods tied down and the tackle bag stashed, and we will see you again next time.